Is it better for me to talk here or talk out here? Does it matter? Can you all hear me? I mean, I'm trying to talk as loud as I can. Thank you very much for the introduction. You're welcome to the clinic here, gentlemen. It was a flight coming up north and coming up northwest. I didn't expect it to be quite as cold, but I mean, this is Chicago, so I should have expected that. My background has me coaching running backs for, I would say, 9 of the 12 years I've coached. And out of those 9 years of coaching, I've been involved with the passing game from the running back's perspective at least 7 of those years. Your coach mentioned Wichita State, and that's where I got my beginning. I had an opportunity to be a graduate assistant under a man that I idolize, a man by the name of Willie Jeffries. He started me off in this profession, and there's no question he is my jump start to my life. And wanting to be like Coach Jeffries and take on a responsibility as a head coach is something I've always endeavored. This is my 6th stop in 12 years of coaching, and you know that gets to wear on you a little bit, but some people say that's the way you try to advance as best you possibly can. You have to be willing to move. 12 years of coaching and 6 moves puts me in position that I'm back home. South Carolina is my home. I was raised in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And going out to Colorado, going to Temple University in Philadelphia, Marshall in West Virginia, the Naval Academy in Annapolis, and Wichita State in Kansas. You know, I finally got a chance to come back home. University of South Carolina was what Division I football was all about for me. And to watch them be successful was something that was a dream for me, to be in position to do something significant. If you can imagine 102 years of football being played at the University of South Carolina, the Dan Reeves of the world, the Sterling Sharps of the world, the George Rogers of the world, no one has ever won a bowl game in South Carolina. With the facilities the way that it is and the fan support the way that it is, no one had ever won a bowl game. And you just knew that if the right person was put into position to be the head coach of the University of South Carolina, it was going to be successful. Well, I got a chance to meet Brad Scott in his home in Tallahassee, December of '93, preparing for the national championship at Florida State. And just meeting him and talking to him, I knew he was the right man for the job of South Carolina. I knew that he was going to make the difference, and he was going to do what has never been done at South Carolina, and that is to be competitive and win a bowl game. Well, he did it the first year he was there. Nobody expected us to be that successful. So this year is a dream come true. It's been a grueling 12 months of transition with the move, transition with the offensive philosophy, learning a new offense, learning new kids, and we've done so and did so with an offense that enabled us to win the first bowl game in the University of South Carolina's history. So, you know, we're going to be remembered as something significant, and that makes a dream come true for me personally, growing up in the state of South Carolina. But I'm here to talk to you all about running backs in the passing game, and I think that there's some things that are carryovers as it relates to running backs. I want to start off by giving you guys an overview of something that I really, really believe in, you know, in terms of motivation, in terms of some beliefs as far as running backs are concerned. I'll try to focus this as best I possibly can, guys. Thank you very much. This right here is basically a core covenant that you come up with. This is some basis in reference to running back play. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but basically what it does, it lets your running backs know that all facets of what they do are so important. You might get into a situation where you're coaching running backs in a pass-oriented offense. They've got to get some motivation somewhere, somehow. And they've got to feel that everything that they do plays a part. They got to feel like everything that they do plays a part in the long-range goal, and that is winning the football game. Your success offensively may not necessarily be with you carrying the football 35 times for over 200 yards. You may have to pick up 7 blitz pickup situations and hit two touchdowns for big gains. Okay? So everything that you do, the demands of a running back, second only to the quarterback, are probably the most demanding for any running back. Running the ball, catching passes, picking up blitzes, understanding coverages, understanding the box, understanding the blitz situation. You think about it. There's no other person other than the quarterback that has to know as much as a running back has to know if he's involved with the passing game. You put a young man in position to handle all those situations. There's a lot of demands with that young man. And you got to challenge that young man to be focused and to pay close attention to exactly what's going on in the field at all times. In this kind of situation, and in all situations coaching running backs, guys, you can't really rely on great success that has happened the play before, and you got to be ready for the very next play. You can't dwell on what has happened in the past if it was bad, because you got to be ready to handle the great situations that can possibly happen for you. So this basically tells you, and it talks about the demands nowadays in the mid-90s of football that are placed on the running backs, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Okay? That young man's got to be prepared for every situation he has. And it's up to us as coaches to motivate him to be ready. Motivate him to be ready to be able to pick up that surprise blitz situation, ready to be able to pick up on the blitz situation and the front that has changed, that you weren't expecting, that you had not prepared for. He also had to be ready to be able to catch that football when the opportunity does come, when he's a flare control situation, catch it, put it away as fast as he possibly can, and not create turnovers. The demands for running backs in middle 90s football are so significant. You know, you got to rename the position. They're not fullbacks and tailbacks anymore. They are running backs. That's what they are. They're running backs. They're not quarterbacks. They're not linemen. They are running backs. They're right in the middle of the mix. So it takes us to motivate these young men, to put them in position that they can handle every situation that they get. Now, as I go through this, all these things are manuscript are available, and I can get them to anybody who wants them. But I do have running back reminders for all my guys, and it's something I harp on all the time, and it's a carryover in terms of the passing game too. I'm going to talk about running backs in general. However, you're going to be able to pick out those that are significant in terms of catching the football or in the passing game. Okay? Obviously, the winning deal. The winning deal is something that has to be just brought out over and over and over again. Again, we talk about the situation. What do you have to do in this week's plan for us as a total offense to be successful? It may mean that you're not going to run the ball but 10 times. It may mean that you'll have an opportunity to catch the ball probably 7 times. But then the next week, you may have an opportunity to run the football 25 times and only catch the ball twice. But the 2 that you're going to catch might be big gains. You have to be ready and be willing to prepare yourself to win the football game. Be disciplined in all areas. I often talk about the running back in position to execute a block, execute a pass reception, execute a blitz pickup, execute a run. When he gets to the line of scrimmage, whether it be running the counter play, when he gets to the line of scrimmage, whether it be picking up a blitz, when he gets to the line of scrimmage, whether it be pursuing a route situation he has to run, that's you as a coach preparing him to get to that situation, to get to that area. There are certain situations where you got to let him go so he can be free and easy to do the things that he loves to do, and that's create. That is to win the football game. That is to make things happen. But if you as a coach can take on the responsibility run-wise to get the young man to the point of attack in whatever steps, in whatever approach, in whatever slides, and however you want to get him to the point of attack, that's you. But when he gets that football, most of the coaching at that point has to come from the man upstairs. Let the young man's talent create and do the things that are necessary. The decisions in reference to having the ball in the hand, changing hands with the ball, those are things a repetition happens, but when you get into the game flow, it's going to have to be second nature to that young man. Okay, they talk about getting to the point of attack for the exchange, ball exchange. They talk about any kind of exchange of the ball, which also includes getting in position to catch the football, running the correct routes. Running the correct routes and getting to the situation where you can catch the football and then create from that position. Exchange first, then break the daylight, catch the ball first, then break the daylight. Whenever transition happens with the ball in your hand, catch the ball first, put the ball away first before you do a thing else. Coach, catch that football for me, please. Put it away, all right? Take a look down there on the points. What do you see? No. Put it away like you would if you caught the ball. Now look at what you see. What do you see?
Side.
On the point.
My hand.
Okay, what does the point say right on the point?
No fumble.
How about that? Okay, let me have the ball back again. Okay, coach, catch the football, put it away, tell me the first word you see.
Huck it.
Okay, thank you. Catch the football, coach, put it away, tell what you see.
No fumble.
Every running back football at the University of South Carolina has points on it with words that mean something. It could be a nickname, it could be the school nickname, it could be a reminder for the running back. If you can incorporate an opportunity for a young man to catch a football and to put it away that he has to read the point on the ball, you have secured the opportunity to have that young man catch the football and put it away before he does a thing else. That's something that has to be emphasized. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be in the game mix and catch the football and then look on down and try to read something before he makes a move. But if you got a young man that catches the football, puts it away, and reads the sign, what's it say?
No fumble.
No fumbles. You've incorporated a young man put in position and he's put the football away. Points of the football, all 4 points on each end with some kind of name, a number, a color, any way that you can identify the fact that young man has put the football away and you see something. SEC, that's a good one. That's played in the Superdome, isn't it? In New Orleans. Well, I tell you what, we're working for that pretty hard. That putting the football away will be something that he can carry with him for the rest of his life. And if you can emphasize it a better way than that, you be a coach and you create it the best way you want to. But I found that this way, and I learned this from Charlie Baggett, who coached at Michigan State, great player for Michigan State. He was someone that I looked up to and talked with about coaching running backs in the passing game, and that's something that he's always talked about. Being able to get the nose down, looking at that point, while the point is not exposed, you got the eagle claw over the football. But it's a great way to catch the football, put it away, and read the number and let the young man shout it to you. Read the word, let the young man shout it to you. So you've assured that he has put that football away before he's made the first move. Catch the football first before he does a thing. We talk about correct alignment all the time. That's something that you harp on in your philosophy, football-wise, offensively, and that's your own deal, okay? Now they talk about the ball being carried on the furthest arm from the football, and I think that's important. I think it's important for a young man to put the football away from traffic. I really think that's important. But I'm gonna tell you this much. If you have an opinion, and I've got an opinion, the changing hands of the football is something that I very, very rarely stress. I think that ball's got to stay there because there's too much speed going on. There's too many things going on out in the open field for a young man to change hands with the football unless he's absolutely sure that it's clear. I remember back in 1989, I remember Eric Bieniemy, the national championship against Notre Dame. We remember Colorado was ahead by 4 points going into the fourth quarter. And Colorado's got the football. They get ready to go back in and score, and that young man went through the mix, and he tried to come out there and change hands with football. The thing was stripped. Notre Dame got the football back and essentially won the football game. I think that if you need to change hands with the football in certain traffic situations, okay, I think you have to be absolutely sure that there is no problems for that young man to be changing hands with the football. There are two things that come up, and there are 4 signs that are in my office or they're in my meeting rooms with my running backs, and they've been with me for a long time. The 4th one was incorporated this year. The first one is no fumbles here. I stress that. There's a big sign when you walk into the running back room that says no fumbles here. And that young man's got to hear that. When they break the huddle, when they break after practice is over, they get together, running backs, they say no fumbles here. They got to hear no fumbles here. But the one that Brad Scott taught me, it was a Bobby Bowden one that I really, really do like, and it means a whole lot. He called it 2 hands in the thicket. 2 hands in the thicket. Now, obviously, the thicket is probably in the box area where you're trying to run through and try to make things happen, get that other hand on the football. But the thicket also is an area that young man does not feel comfortable because he doesn't know where traffic may possibly be coming. We all have had that fullback that's broken the plane right up the middle of the doggone field. He's running right down the middle of the field. He doesn't know where the traffic's coming, and he doesn't have enough speed to take it to the house. I tell you what, that's thicket. That's thicket area right there, because I guarantee you they're going to be trained to come and strip that football. If you're breaking up the middle of the field and you can't take a side one way or the other and you're a fullback in the situation, 2 hands in the thicket. Get the other hand on the football and give it the best shot you have, but you take care of that football, because I guarantee you, you're going to be trying to be stripped. They're going to come try to strip you right away. So that's a thicket situation. Another thicket situation is that running back who's caught the ball in the flat area. He doesn't know where the pressure's coming from. He's caught the ball, and he's got his back to the defender. You better get the other hand on the football. 2 hands in the thicket. 2 hands in the thicket. What is the thicket? The thicket is area that you don't know about. It's area that you have not been. It's area that you don't feel most comfortable with. Put the other hand over the football until you can understand what's going on. 2 hands in the thicket. I got running back objectives here. Again, the first objective is to win, obviously. Okay? Understanding the offensive system, understanding your responsibility in that offense is something that is important. I think that a young man executing a technique and not having any idea why, not being broken down to the bare essence of why he's doing it, is something that leaves that young man pretty lost. So he's going to have to be made aware of exactly what he's doing as best you could possibly break it down. And we talk about tremendous physical and mental toughness, and obviously your young man's not going to be put in that situation unless he's got all those kinds of things. Be willing to prepare to win. And again, we talked about that earlier. We talked about that young man that's come off of a great game where he's had a great rushing game, but this next game, you know, they're going to try to gang up on the run. He's going to do some things catching the football. He may not get the football that many times. He's got to be ready and be willing to prepare to win. And that's our job as coaches, to do that, to get him prepared for when the opportunity does come for him to make something extremely great happen, that he be ready to do that, be ready to handle that situation. Now, number 7 is the one that I really, really like. Poise and enthusiasm. How many young men do you all know that are so hyped up about what's going on that they can't even remember what the snap count is? They can't remember that, okay, I gotta run a flat route right here, but you know what? You gotta pick up a blitz situation before that happens. That's poise under pressure, okay? But be enthusiastic about what you're doing. What is the best position to ever be playing this football game? The guy dotting the I. The guy dotting the I is in position that he can just electrify 70 and 80,000 people at one play at a time. See, he's the pulse of the team. He's the pulse of the town. He's the pulse of the fans. Him creating something great, that's the greatest position a young man could be in right now. for a young man to be put in position to have the football in his hand to affect the people, to affect the crowd, to affect the team, to be able to create, to help the team. I mean, that's the greatest position a young man has to be the guy that's dotting the I for wherever university, whatever high school. That young man is in position where he can create, he can express himself to the pleasure of everybody. What a great position to be in. We've all been there before when we played, had the ball in our hands and be able to create and do things and electrify people and set the tone for the team. Basically, to set the tone for the team is the thing that is emphasized, the thing that he has to understand. That's his responsibility as running back. He has set the tone for the team. I'm going to go down to number 9. Number 9 is critical, because I'm sure that everybody in here in your running back rooms and your running back situations has had that young man that dwells so very, very much on him messing up. He ain't worth it during the next play. Well, now he's got to get out of that attitude. You got to have a warrior's mentality to play the position, whether it be a blocking back or whether it be a receiving back or whether it be a running back. That young man's got to put the last play aside and get to the next play. Whether it be whether he has success on the last play or whether he wasn't too good on the last play. But that young man has got to put the play aside and get to the next play. You might have run a sprint draw play. You might have broke it out to the backside and gained 35 yards. But you know what? You got to line up the next play, because right now we're going for a home run, and you got to pick up the blitz situation that's coming. Okay? Get to the next play. Get to the next play. You know, there was a beautiful piece that came out with Shaquille O'Neal, and he had John Wooden and Bill Walton and Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, and he was reciting a poem called "If," and the ending of the poem talked about fulfilling the unforgiven minute with 60 seconds worth of distant run. You know, yours be the world, but what's more, you'll be a man, my son. Well, Kipling, in that poem, at the very beginning of the poem, and you just remember this now as you go on, because I quote Kipling every now and again, but not too much now. But Kipling talks about if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. And I think that goes into number 9 right there. Being able to deal with success and failure and treat them like they're imposters, but get right back down to work, back down to earth, and do what you got to do the next time. Regardless of how much success or how badly you screwed it up, get ready to go with the next one to make up for it, or be ready to be successful on the very, very next play. I like number 12. Getting a north and south attitude, and I think those are incorporated in your running back drills. You know, I personally like to incorporate bags with my drills. You know, everything in the play tape that I do, everybody has a play tape. I use tires. But when you're running your play polish drills with your quarterbacks, if you can incorporate bags at the point of attack, those bags do a couple things for you guys. If you can lie out 3 agile bags about 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, that young man's going to step over those bags, squaring his shoulders up to the line of scrimmage, and doing so, leaning forward and protecting that football. That gets a north and south attitude. If you can incorporate 3 large, agile bags at the point of attack when you're running your play and play polish drill, you will get a north and south attitude, and you will get an acceleration attitude getting up the field. Does everybody follow what I'm saying here? I'm talking about it. I don't have it on script right here, but I incorporate 3 large bags in my running drills. In my running drills as a running back coach. 13, think win of all times. Everything that you do here, everything that's been talked about, talks about think and win. Think and win at all costs. Okay? Every time you carry the football, whether you catch a pass or whether you carry the football off tackle, treat it like it's a house call. Treat every carry as if it's a house call. You gotta have an attitude as if I'm gonna carry the football for the very last time. You never know when you get a chance to carry it again. That young man's gotta feel like this has gotta be my best carry. Whether it be the first carry, whether it be the 34th carry, it's got to be my best carry because I don't know if I'm going to have the chance to do it again. Don't know. So give it your best shot every single time you have the ball in your hand. Okay, I just want to give you an overview about running back, my personal beliefs and running back objectives and those kind of things. But what I want to talk with you all about is helping your running backs catch the ball better or understand what's going on in pass routes and those kinds of things. Now, there's not a whole lot running backs can do in terms of routes in the box area, behind the tackles. Although people can shift them 1-and-1 from the tight end or 1-and-1 from the split side tackle, and he's able to do some things that wide receivers can do. But you basically have some basic routes that you can run as a running back, and you have to understand what they're used for, and you have to understand so you can execute them. The first route right there, diagram number 1 talks about a flat route, and that's exactly what it does. It occupies the flat area right away. Contrary to what other people believe, people think about having to dip, get vertical before breaking outside sharp with this. The way you teach it, the way I teach it, I think that it's important for them to get into the flat area as quickly as possible. So I tell my guys, you find the widest receiver on that side, which is probably the split end over here, in this area right here that I'm pointing at. You find a point about 4 yards in front of his alignment. 4 yards in front of his alignment. You're going to take your running back's position, which is just over this tackle, and you're going to run straight to that area and be prepared to catch the ball on your outside shoulder. We don't necessarily want a banana. We don't want any diversion of you getting into the flat as soon as possible. We want a straight line shot, getting your head on the outside and be prepared for it. That route is a route that is a complement to some kind of inside route from an outside receiver, whether it be a curl route or whether it be a crossing route that's 15 yards deep or however deep you want to make it. But the flat route's an important route. You have to be prepared for it and be ready to catch them in all angles. The second route that we talk about is a spot route. People talk about it being a stop route, but basically it's an area that you're going to get to between your linebacker and your flat defender, okay? It's an area right in here between the linebacker and flat defender that you have to get to. From there, moving inside or out, depending on what you want to do, to create your own throwing lane, to create your own separation. In the event of 5 under man or 5 under zone concepts, people play a lot of 2 deep now, and you're going to have a lot of people underneath. It's important for you to understand where you're going, for those young men to understand where they're going so they can create their own throwing lane, so they can create their own separation between the defenders. So that's where we're going to call it a spot route right here. People call it stop routes. But again, you have the liberty to turn inside or out based on the play of the flat player and the linebacker dropping into the whole area. Now, the number 3 route is this flat route, and you take it on up the sideline. They call that a wheel route. People call it a rail route. People call it flatten up. It's a route run versus man-to-man situations a whole lot. It's a route that's run when you got a singled up situation with a back and a linebacker that's got a man-to-man that you know he can't run with. But another use of the route for you all if you want a quick 6, something for you to remember, something for you to take on if you like. That outside receiver is prone to run what we call a crossing route, that dig route. Dig route's a big route, a 15-yard route straight up the field, and he's coming across trying to catch that football before he gets to the hash mark. Well, in a lot of cases, because of the way it looks, when you get 3 deep coverage, you get a corner that gets antsy. He wants to bite on that dig route. He wants to bite on the curl route. When you see that happen as a running back coach, go to your coach right now and say, look at here, go ahead and run the rail right now. Run it right now. Once you get the corner biting on any kind of crossing route of an outside receiver, run your wheel route right now. You don't need time for them to think about how they screwed up. Run it right now. You got your quick 6. I like the rail route for man-to-man situations, and I like to isolate that running back against a linebacker who should not be able to run against that tailback. But I also like that route as a complement to an inside route, which is the 15-yard crossing route. If you get corners that are getting nosy, corners biting on those kinds of routes. The number 4 route, which is the running back over here to the right, is a hook route. It's a hook route that's a route to occupy a linebacker. You want to run to the field, you want to run your curl flat combination with your inside receiver running a flat, outside receiver running a curl route. Well, the flat has got the flat defender out of there, but you got to hold that linebacker when you want to hit that curl. That's where the hook route is involved. That's where the hook route is involved. And again, it's one of those basketball type of situations where you get vertical, create your own spacing, and create your own throwing lane for you with you and the quarterback. But the route is to occupy the linebacker, guys. If the linebacker does not respect the back should hit the ball all the time. So that's the kind of attitude that the running back has to have. He has to get in position and say, look at here, I got to have some respect. I'm checking my blitz, I got to get some respect. Now, if he doesn't want to check me, throw me the football right now. That's your hook route. The other route that's listed on there with it is the delay route, the number 8 route, this little curlicue right here. Again, it does exactly the same thing. The delay route is one that's run later, okay? That's a route where the back is actually taking advantage of watching a linebacker get out of there and get into the hook to curl. At that point, you have a little poise, get yourself in position to catch the football in the hook area. Okay, so this is a delay route number 8. Okay, let's go back to number 5. Number 5 is an out route. Again, here's the out route right here, taking it vertical and breaking it outside sharp. The thing that comes out of that I think about in my mind of an out route, people are so impatient about breaking it outside, they defeat the purpose of the route. They're so concerned about breaking it outside so fast, you end up rounding it, bananing it, and you have a linebacker plays underneath it that can steal it. Plants and angles. I don't care if you run 5 flat in the 40. If you can get vertical, plant, and angle away, there's nobody that can stop you, as long as you plant and angle and give an illusion of a possibility of going either way. Plants and angles, planting off inside feet, plants and angles. All right. The clear out route is basically your route just straight up the field. I think the one coaching point, the one thing that has to be known, and you have to understand your people, in running the clear out route, if you want to run down the middle of the football field, guys, you got to get those guys with great landmarks. I think if the ball's on the hash, I think a great landmark for your running back to run down the middle of the field, if he's on the hash, is to attack the far upright from his alignment. If he attacks the near upright, he's not going to get into the middle of the field enough. He'll be favoring the hash, where hashes are right now. Tell him to attack the far upright. You'll have him down the middle of the field, and you have the compensation for being on the hash. Okay? So that's just awareness of the young man, knowing where he is. You can't just expect the young man to run down the middle of the field just by telling him. He's got to be repped it. He's got to do it a few times to understand what's going on. Okay, now I've talked about some routes right here, and I got a film that I'm going to show some situations. You're going to see examples of the flat route, examples of the spot route. You're going to see examples of the hook route, and you're going to see some examples of the out route. But you can also see some scat routes and some other things too. So if I could get some help here, I've got some diagrams of what we do offensively. The other thing that could be incorporated, guys, with what you guys do is what is called a Dallas drill that we do, and I've got some film of it I want to show you right now. The Dallas drill will help you with your awareness of your running back, and your running back knowing exactly where he's supposed to be on the field and what he's essentially doing. So we got some examples of the Dallas drill and how that makes him even better aware of what he's doing as a running back and where he's supposed to be. But the Dallas drill, thank you, is a drill that is done with just running backs, a tight end, inside linebackers, and a couple of safety people. It's just an in-the-box type of deal. It's essentially man-to-man, but not necessarily totally man-to-man. Can you guys see over here if I stand over here? Okay. Okay, as we go through this, guys, you can ask questions as we go. All right, this is Dallas right here, and this is the first couple days of Dallas. But I think it's an excellent drill, and it's your drill as running back coaches. Fight for the drill if you're going to throw the football. There you see Brandon Bennett right there getting in position to find his own throwing lane right there. Awareness where he is on the field. Okay, now this is the first day of it. You're going to find some situations that are going to happen where Brandon is not necessarily going all the way out there, but we're working and trying to create our spaces. There's a tight end going vertical up the field. Okay, then you got both of your backs running their complementary routes. Again, notice the planting angle that I've talked about. Planting inside foot and accelerating out of it, okay? You don't have to run 4-4 to be effective to create your own spacing. Plant and angle. This is a great drill, this Dallas drill right here. It puts you in position right there that you can coach all those good things. 2 hands in the thicket. That's a thicket area right there. Once he's caught the ball in open field, put it away. Look up the next guy, 2 hands in that thicket and accelerate up the field. Dallas drill is a good drill. It incorporates, just has your linebackers, the 3 linebackers that are in the box, 2 safety people, your tight end, your quarterback, and 2 backs.
Is he running a spot?
Down to the boundary.
Yeah.
The boundary guys run a spot route right there, okay? The boundary guys run a spot route. Up top, he's running his square out route, the out route we talked about here. But you're going to see sometimes, guys, you're going to see some situations where we're going to ask him to run exactly the same thing, but actually work between these 2 linebackers. That's how, depending on the route that you want to run, you may want to run the verticals, and you may want to just isolate him. And if it is zone, he's going to have to stop before he gets out there to that flat player. Okay? But this is a great beginning for him to understand the awareness of him on the passing game. On the spot route right here, in order to create separation or create equal distance between the flat player and the hook the curl player, which is that linebacker, I encourage the running back to know who the flat defender is, whether it be a squat corner in cover 2 or whether it be a strong safety in cover 3. I encourage you to know that, because if the young man attacks the inside shoulder of the flat defender, gets to his depth of 5 yards, and break inside sharp, you will see the natural separation between the 2 places, because he's working inside where he can see the defender. See, as he approaches the guy outside, he can see the outside guy, but he can't see the inside guy. But once he snaps his head around, he can adjust based on the inside player. Okay, then you create your separation between the flat player and the hook the curl player. So that's what he's taught right here in the spot route right there.
Are your backs always in a 2-point stance coming out of the back?
Absolutely. You think about that, and I believe in it, because you got to be able to see the whole mix. You got to be able to see the front, and you got to see the coverage. These guys got to see the coverage too. I mean, you've gotten somewhere when you got your fullback telling your coach they playing robber coverage. You see the free safety robbing. Well, I mean, I don't expect him to know all that. But I mean, when he starts telling me that, then I think that he's got it figured out. If you notice on our offense, and you'll see that as we go through this, the tailback is to the strong side. Okay? The tailback is to the tight end side of the formation. Here's your tailback here, and here's your fullback here to the boundary, okay? Not necessarily to get the one-on-one situations or the option route opportunities to the weak side, but to take advantage in a 4-3 scheme of being singled up with a Mike linebacker. That Mike linebacker is a show enough in the box guy. And I mean, he's got to take on guards and all those kind of things, and he's about 250 nowadays. But if you can single him up with your best athlete, which is your tailback, you know, you got some great situations that happen. I think that for us, it's an advantage. But that's your drill. Dallas drill is your drill right there, guys. Dallas drill is your drill. I would encourage you to fight for it because it's great teaching for your guys. Great teaching for your guys to know exactly what's going on. Both guys are in a two-point stance. They're lined to track with the tackles. They're not favoring inside or outside. They're track to track with the tackles. We don't want to get any interruptions with any kind of fan blocking to bump into any tackles. Dallas drill is also good, guys, but for the most part, you'll find that the linebackers in Dallas are the guys that they're going to have to be picking up in blitz situations immediately. So they can see it. They can see the three backers in the 4-3 scheme, the two safeties in the hash right here. Let's work and create our own throwing lanes in these areas right here. As you saw right there, Brandon decided to hook up based on the play of the widest backer right here. He just finds his open area after the clear out right there. Just sit there and catch the football, put it away, two hands in the thicket. Okay. All right, let's go to everything right here before we get to the next phase. What you see right here, guys, is the beginning of a option route with your tight end. But again, the route that the back is running, we call that a scat route, which is the beginning of the shallow cross series. Okay, now, this route that he's running right there is not necessarily just running out of there and getting into the flat area. There are a lot of components that are involved with that route. A couple things happen. He has to know who his blitz pickup person is, so that's how come he takes off in the manner that he does. His approach is flat down the line. We give him 5 good steps to take. I like for him to get to 6 if he can. But because he's going flat down the line, he can feel pressure, if there is any, to be able to look for the football hot if he's a hot receiver. After the 5th step, he's going to lose ground about a yard so that he can snap his head around and not cross the line of scrimmage. The key to the scat route is width. The key to the scat route is width. You can't expect the guy to line up and run a scat route. It's got to be drilled. It's got to be drilled over and over again. Get your 6 good steps and then whip it around. You'll see some examples later on. Okay, we got us in a game situation right here. This is against Clemson right here. But you see right here, one back set, what you're going to see are 4 vertical. You're going to see 4 vertical, and now you've got a flare control route by your back right here. He can do a couple things with 4 vertical because he's matched up on who? That Mike linebacker right there. He's matched up with the Mike. Okay? We want him to first understand what his job is. His job is to affect the linebacker, because if he affects the linebacker, we may be able to hit it over the top for a touch. Which is exactly what happens right here. Understand your responsibility. Right here, we got 4 vertical, and the guy that we want to hit is what we call the broken arrow, and in this play, it's the inside receiver right here. Well, we got to affect this linebacker right here because this guy's not going to wall him off. We got to affect this linebacker right here. That's exactly what happens. We throw the ball over the top for a touch.
Coach, we move to the side.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I got a big head. I understand that. All right, go ahead. The check. Take a look at the running back, the tailback. After he clears the fan block by that tackle, he's got to immediately get up the field. He has to immediately get vertical to affect 56. Now, 56 doesn't have a chance right now. The Mike linebacker doesn't have a chance to stop it. It's a good going-in play to immediately stretch the defense vertically. Okay, the other facet of the 4 vertical, you got 4 vertical right here. But now, if you give a good plant angle and you get the linebacker who got a touchdown call on him last time, break it inside. Like to have better plant angle by that guy. If it was true man-to-man underneath coverage, they'd have a problem, but they played this zone or the guy took a peek. The zone coverage is the only thing that stopped the route right here. But the point is, this is another route for your tailback to run with 4 vertical. You can break them back inside and make big plays out of it. I'd like to have a better plant and angle, but it gets exactly what you want done. He comes across from the overplay of the linebacker. Linebacker's bailing out of there. He has no idea. He has no way to cover that. So you can go 4 vertical and have your backs run a couple things. You can have them run square outs. You can have them run square ends. They have option routes. Give them the liberty to run their option situations. All right. Here's your smash situation right there. We're going to run post corners on both sides and flat occupants on both sides. We're going to split the deuce with the tailback. Again, just like I talked about, the tailback on the hash favoring the far upright to get down the middle of the field. Favor the far upright. Tannehill kind of underthrew that one, but it was a big play for us. Again, balls on the hash, split the middle of the field, favor the far upright. It could be a tight end in that same mix right there, or it could be the running back. Favor the far upright. And again, it's got the tailback singled up on the Mike linebacker, okay? Okay, now this is what you got right here, guys. You're gonna have a flat route by the fullback to the front, to the back side. Again, he's on the single receiver side, and your tailback is running scat route. This is the beginning of the shallow cross series. We can run the shallow cross series in 2 backs. A lot of people like to run it with 1 back. We can run it in 2 backs. You got your scat route right here by your back, and you got your flat route by your fullback to the backside. Basically, the fullback's taking the place of the wide receiver that would have been running a flat route, curl flat combination backside of the shallow cross. Okay? So let's take a look at the Mike line. I'll take a look at the linebackers. Linebackers are affected by the width right here. Hit the shallow. Hit the shallow right now. There's your beginnings of the shallow cross series. Can you see that now? And again, the route by the tailbacks are so important, okay? Take your good steps out of it quickly and then lose a little ground so that when you get your head and shoulders around, you're not crossing the line of scrimmage. We don't want you to cross the line of scrimmage. You coach him not to cross that line of scrimmage. But the scat route there is the beginning of the shallow cross series. So you can run the shallow cross series of 2 backs, which has been good for us in some situations. Here it is again, shallow cross again. You got your scat route by your tailback up top, losing his ground, getting around as best he can. He could get a little wider. Backside, we've got a flat route by your fullback. I say he should hit the back this time. I think he should hit the tailback this time. But again, what it does, the scat route opens it up and shows you everything. It shows you how the linebackers are going to play it, if they're going to commit or not. Thank you. Okay, here we go again, shallow cross in one back, all right? You got the curl flat back here, you got a shallow run by the wide receiver, you got a wide route by your back. Get your steps, lose your ground, get your width. The wide route, and watch the effect of the scat route by the back with the linebacker. Take a look at the middle. Wide route is the most important route in the shallow cross series. I think if you ask Jerry Rice and if you ask Sterling Sharp, they'll all tell you the same thing. The wide route is the most important route. Nobody on the back. Nobody on the back. Get it to the back. Make the first guy miss. Again, that route is something that has to be repped and has to be drilled if you're committed to do the run the route. Okay? Take your good steps out there flat, then lose your ground. Get your head around. Whip it as best you can so that you don't catch the football past the line of scrimmage. Width is most important than anything else that happens in that shallow cross. Okay, any questions? Any questions about anything I've talked about? The Dallas drill, the wide route, shallow cross series. Question?
Is your whole offense out of spread?
No, you're going to see us predominantly two backs. The thing that we showed you is the ability to do one back things out of two backs if you got athletes that are good enough to catch the football. Our fullback right now was a guy that was a converted tight end who got to be pretty doggone good, so he's pretty nice in the route running the curl flat combination.
When you run two backs, it's all split?
Absolutely. Well, most of the time, there's some things that we can take advantage of in split backs. The rush of the ends become wider, so we can run some great draws out of it with an extra back. But the meat and potatoes of our offense is isolation, the I set out of the three wides. Okay, the 4-3 defense has put you in position where you take the tight end out of there so you can take care of the numbers problem. The extra guys got to get out of there now. So you got your numbers situation in front of you, 6-on-6 for the most part. But that's our base. That's our base attacking the 4-3. Any other questions?
What's your quarterback read progression on the shallow cross?
Well, in terms of him dropping back in his progression, he's looking at linebackers right off the bat. He's looking at the effect of the linebacker off of the wide. The scat route, I call it, if it's affecting or if he gets any kind of expansion at all, he's looking to hit the shallow. Okay? There's some people that like to play games with you, and you see Tannehill play with his shoulders and everything to get the width necessary. But more than anything else, the actual popping it to the backs, the threat of him catching the ball and making the first guy miss and making a 20-yard gain is enough to pull the linebacker out of there. It's enough to pull him out of there. Any other questions? Okay, guys, that's my time for right now. We'll talk with you the second half, and if there's anything else that came up out of this discussion, the second hour, feel free to ask them at that time.
Fellas, we'd like to take a 10-minute break.